accidental gangster. Folks, you have heard, you have read, you have seen it in the movies that drugs are not allowed in the mafia. That's total wacky bullshit. And I'm going to prove it to you, okay? And so stay tuned to the end of this here, because you're going to want to hear this, folks. For you folks who are into the mafia, the glamoration of it all that the movies make of it, okay? You're going to want to hear this. Now, let's begin with me, first of all, okay? I dealt marijuana. I admit it. Marijuana, that's the only drug, you want to call it a drug, that I ever sold. It was brought in from Mexico to Arizona. I had it flown to New York, 500 pounds at a time. And I had it brought to a certain location. I had my buyers all lined up. No money exchanged hands at my location. It was on Ocean Parkway, okay? The guys were there. I'd had the 500 pounds, and I gave a line of credit to each of the people that I supplied marijuana to. And I say, you get 50, you get 100, you get 75, boom, 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 boom. It would be no long, it wouldn't take me 5 minutes to have my room in that place emptied out. And then I had my driver waiting for me. I walk out, got my car, went to my hotel in Midtown Manhattan, and waited for them to bring me the money. Okay? That's how I did it. So I never had the money or the marijuana or me in the same place. That I consider being smart. Now, a lot of you want to write me and say, Michael Franchise said I was a drug dealer. He did that on Vlad. Okay? Michael didn't know what he was talking about then. I don't hold it against him. I know where it came from. Came from his brother Johnny. I never sold Johnny any drugs at all. Never. Okay? Because I didn't deal in those kind of drugs that he took. He took powerful shit. He took crack, cocaine, and meth, and I don't even want to get into it. Okay? I never sold them. Okay? So that's false. And folks, please subscribe and like my channel for me, please. All right? Yes, Michael Francis said that. I'm glad. Let me tell you where it came from. Okay? You see, folks, there's a lot of different rats. All right? For example, all right? All right? Let's say Jerry Yet, all right? Uh, let's say Jerry. We'll take Jerry over here. All right? Let's say that Jerry, okay, saw Michael Chambers doing something wrong. And he goes to his boss and said, hey, Jerry was doing this. Okay? That's ratting, folks. He might not get on a witness stand, but that's a form of ratting. Okay? So get that straight. There's a lot of different ways. Okay? Now I want to try to stay on track. I want to talk to you all. I want to thank you all coming here. There's Sabrina Taylor. Hello, how are you? Okay. Thank you everybody for coming. Please, all right, subscribe, like. If you like my channel, you like the topics that I discuss. All right. And so they say it's against the rules. That's so much fucking bullshit. Yeah. It's against the rules, but it's okay for the bosses. Now, let me tell you, you all heard of Carlo Gambino? Yeah, you had to hear of Carlo Gambino if you're into the mafia, okay? And you heard of Joe Bonanno, okay? Joe Bonanno was one of the originals, and his family still bears his name. All right, but let's talk about Joe Bonanno. And let's talk about somebody you might not have ever heard of, but you certainly seen his picture, okay? Because it was splattered around all the newspapers where Carmen Galante got shot at a restaurant in New York, and you see him with a cigar in his mouth. Do you remember that picture? Okay. Having my coffee. I got a double shot of espresso in there. Folks, it's good. I got to tell you. Okay. So keep subscribing, keep liking if you're just new there. Joseph Bonanno brought Carmen Galante to Sicily 1957. A lot of you weren't even born then. Okay. I was 13 years old. Yeah, 13 years old I was. To firmly establish their crime family and the international heroin trafficking business. Joe Bonanno was the boss. He brought Carmen Galante. While Galante had already been working an early freelance drug pipeline for New York bosses like Vito Genovese and organizing narcotic routes in Montreal, it was his own boss, Joseph Bonanno, who orchestrated the pivotal expansion into Sicily. In October 1957, Bonanno traveled with Galante, who was serving as his consigliere and chief enforcer, to Palermo, Sicily. They held a historic series of high level meetings at the Grand Hotel des Palmes. The core objective to establish a direct massive pipeline for importing heroin from the Mediterranean into the United States. The meeting bridged American and Sicilian factions, bringing together American mobsters like Lucky Luciano and a Sicilian mafia delegation led by Giuseppe Genco Russo. The outcome, as a result of this summit, Galante was designated as the primary emissary for the Bonanno's family heroin running operation under the agreement. Sicilian mobsters, frequently referred to as Zips, were brought over to the United States to handle the direct distribution and security for the multi-million-dollar narcotic franchise. This foundation eventually evolved into the infamous Pizza Connection heroin. You remember the movie, The Pizza Connection? Okay. That was with the Gambino family in New Jersey, relative of Carlo. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. You know how Carmen Galante would test his heroin when it got to the United States to see if it was powerful or not? They would take a druggie off the streets, put him in a room, and give it to him. If he died, they knew they had good shit. Yeah, folks. Kind of morbid, I must admit. All right? That is pretty morbid. But that's how it was done. So that's Joe Bonanno, who is the boss of the Bonanno family that still bears his name. Let's go to Carlo Gambino. Now, Carlo Gambino, they got no wiretaps on that guy. That guy was shrewd. He was very shrewd. No question about it. All right. Now, you all know that Lucky Luciano dealt heroin. Lucky Luciano was mentioned over there with Joe Bonanno, and he was the boss of what become now the Gambino family. All right. Yeah, Michael said there's no drugs. Sammy said there's no drugs. Everybody said there's no drugs. They're all full of shit. Okay? Drugs is the most and the biggest freaking money maker that they got. All right? That's why I hear this shit. All right? And this is why I come here today to tell you the facts. I come with receipts. I tell you the truth. Okay? Do you know how Sonny Franche found out that I was dealing marijuana in New York? I didn't tell him. I didn't tell none of the guys because I was selling it to a different type of individual. And they didn't want me to associate my friends in that business. And they were correct. But what happened, folks, was one guy who sold to, that it bought from me, and he sold to another guy. He sold to a Gambino guy. And he tells this Gambino guy that he's getting this stuff from Spado. Well, guess what the Gambino guy does? He goes to his boss and tells his boss. That's a form of fucking ratting, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? That's a form of ratting. All right? And folks, tell me if you think that's okay. That's snitching. All right? That's snitching. Same thing as a rat. Ain't no fucking difference. Okay? You can see I get upset when I talk about the fucking rats and informant. So he tells his boss, who goes to Sonny, and tells Sonny that I'm dealing marijuana. Okay? I am here. No, I never sold John Franchise any drugs. You didn't hear me in the beginning. You come in now, okay, and you want to go why what fucking Michael says. Okay? Michael didn't even know what he was talking about. Okay? You know who the first person at the trial in New York, when Johnny Franchise took the stand, they asked him, who are your father's friends? Folks, I was the first freaking name Johnny mentioned. At that time, he said, R.E. Spado's been friends with my father for 35 years. 35 years. Yeah. What did Mr. Spado do? He was a drug dealer. Folks, I never sold him fucking drugs. I swear to God on that there. On my children, I swear I never sold Johnny Franchise drugs. Okay? So I get a call from Sonny. Hey, buddy, gotta see you. Maybe it's such and such a restaurant. Having your deal with. Yeah, okay, buddy. I go down to Avenue D. I meet him. He said, let's take a walk. Okay, we had a walk and talk. Hey, buddy, I'm hearing this rumor, and, you're not supposed to be doing this. All right, but, buddy, look at, I know so. And he mentions a Gambino guy here in California who just sent $50,000 to New York, and that guy was in the drug business, not marijuana. He was in the cocaine business. Okay? And Sonny said, "Hey, buddy, we know, but you could, you got to be paying up over here on that. You tell me it came from something else. You see how the bosses have their own way of getting they want the money. Money is the only fucking thing they care about. Okay? So, yeah, I told you about Joe Bonanno. And you know what I did with Sonny? I denied it, and denied it. Folks, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content that I bring you. Okay, I'm one of very few people that come here, tell you the truth, tell you how it is, and I have receipts. Okay? And you can Google this stuff yourself for if you don't believe me. All right? I do not know of one person who got whacked for selling drugs. Okay. Hello? Okay. FedEx, bring me a package. All right. So, all right. I don't know anybody got, I know people that got whacked for not paying up. Okay. All right. So there's a difference, folks. Okay. And remember, who makes the rules is the bosses. Now let's take Carlo Gambino. He's a boss that they had no wiretaps on. Okay, nothing. But, okay, how did Carlo become the boss? Carlo became very powerful. All right. And it was Joe Colombo. Joe Colombo. You know the Colombo family, right? What did Joe Colombo do? I bet you didn't know this. Now, I want you to tell me, all right, what you think. All right. Joe Colombo was part of the crew that was going to kill Albert Anastasia, and they did. Okay. And Carlo's name was on the list. Joe Colombo went and told Carlo. They got rid of Albert. Carlo became the boss, and he made Joe Colombo the boss of the Colombo family. It was the Profaci family before that there. Okay? Another fact. So what do you call Joe Colombo? He snitched, right? Simple. All right, let's go back to 1948. You know what I was in 1948, folks? I was 4 years old. So don't ask me if I knew Carlo Gambino. Okay? Because I didn't. Okay? I know a lot of Gambinos. I did not know Carlo. All right? Sometime in 1948, Carlo Gambino made a trip to Palermo, Sicily. This trip was a closely guarded secret, and the person he went to see was the exiled former kingpin of New York's criminal underworld, Lucky Luciano. Gambino wanted to get in on the ground floor of the narcotic operation Charlie was building. The trip was short and successful, but it was Gambino's last visit to his homeland. At this point in time, Gambino was underboss to Albert Anastasia. However, it's believed Gambino went behind his back, which could have been disastrous if Anastasia found out. See what I'm telling you, folks, is there. Okay? From that moment on, Gambino sent his trusty right hand man, Joe Biondo. All right, Joe, Biondo, more commonly known as Joe Bandy, for further discussions on the newly formed business arrangement. You see how Carlo began it, went to Sicily, and then he buffers himself with other people. Okay? Bandy had been close friends with Charlie ever since their teenage years, living together along with Tommy Lucchese in a rundown apartment on East 14th Street. The trio remained loyal to each other through all the turbulence of their lives. On every trip Bandy made, he took a suitcase full of cash to pay Charlie his share of the profits, plus to purchase more heroin. On one particular trip in 1951, American narcotics agents tailed Bandy all over Italy. Every move he made was observed and noted. First stop, he was seen dining with Charles, Lucky, and Naples. Next, he was seen having espresso in Palermo with Nicola Gentile, followed by Roman nightclubs with deported drug dealers Frank Chick Calesi, Dominic the Gap Petrello, and Giuseppe Joey Pici, spelled Pici. He returned to Naples again to see Charlie and then headed back to New York. Within a week of Bandy leaving, Frank Calesi was arrested at Rome Airport carrying 3 kilos of heroin hidden in his suitcase. This information came from Stu Pigeon Eugenio Gianni. 1 year later, Gianni was shot in the head by a solitary shotgun blast, killing him instantly on 107th Street in East Harlem. Bandy made a few more trips the following years to see his old pal Charlie, although it's not clear if these trips were related to business or personal. You could bet they were related to business and personal, both. Okay? So, folks, there you are. Two of the biggest bosses, or three actually, Charlie Lucky Luciano, Joe Bonanno, Carlo Gambino. That's only three of them, folks. Don't you think the other bosses were doing the same thing? Huh? Even in the movies, do you see where they're saying it's illegal? I think it was the movie The Godfather. How much bullshit is bullshit? Okay? Huh? And then people suck it up. Folks, please, I'm going to ask you again, subscribe, like, share, okay? Show me some love. All right, it's deeply appreciated. All right. I'm trying to get the 17,000 subscriber here. And boy, I tell you, I'm down to I need about 30 more. So please hit that subscribe button. All right. It's definitely appreciated. All right. Who kept, Agent Orange, who kept Hollywood supplied during the 80s? The 80s was a very different time, Agent Orange, and that's a very good question. I'm going to tell you, during the 80s, it was the Colombians. It was the Colombians that were bringing it in here, and let me tell you how they had a great setup, too. because they never had themselves present at the location where cocaine, they brought in the coke. Just before the Mexicans got involved. Okay? And let me tell you how they did it. I happen to know. Okay? Because I knew some Colombians. They would have a warehouse, and if you were one of the buyers, they gave you a key to it. Okay? And you went and it was all the honor system. You took 1 kilo, you took 5 kilos, okay? And you said, I got five. And then you met with them and you paid them for the five. So the money and the cocaine was never in the same room at the same time. The same way I did it with the marijuana. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Goddamn. Damn. Thank you. All right? Yes. You see how the bosses did it? They were in charge, but they had people. They buffered themselves. And that's how you have successful business. Now, folks, I didn't get busted or arrested for marijuana dealing. Why? Because they couldn't connect me. All right? Because I kept it separated, just like Carlo did, just like Joe Bonanno did, and like other bosses did. All right? What did I get busted for? Lies, lies, and lies from informants. Who were the informants? Guy Furtado. All right? Guy Furtado was the biggest informant. Okay? And he had Sonny on over 400 tape recording. Over 400. Okay? Oh, Lionel. All right? Lions 4. Let me go back and read. All right? You saw where the guy Gianni got killed on 107th Street for informing. You got to remember that was before Rico. Okay? That's when they killed Rex. Okay? They stopped that shit. And from what I hear now from the streets, no, there's not supposed to be any more killings. So let the rest run free, do what the fuck they want. Okay? It's not right. I don't like it, but that's the way it is. Okay? I was going to say something. Who's that? Goof, yeah, but thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. How you doing, Cable Dog? Huh? No, thank you, gas pipe, gas pick. Thank you for telling the people. Subscribe and like, okay, and share. And folks, by the way, you know, I am the author of a book. You want to know more about what I know? It's all here, folks, in the Accidental Gangster. All right, best-selling book. So it's available. Go to my profile, click the link, and you can buy an autographed copy from me if you want. Okay? All right. Yeah. Well, Carl Gambino formally discouraged and banned his men from dealing drugs under the threat of death. but he was known to oversee and profit from international narcotics trades. The public ruled. The public ruled. Gambino, along with successors like Paul Castellano, John Gotti, publicly maintained a strict deal and die policy against narcotics. He recognized that the heavy prison sentences associated with drug offenses increased the risk of moppers cooperating with federal authority. And he was correct. That's exactly what happened. All right. Yeah, it goes all the way back to the 40s, folks. So when you hear these other gangsters say it's illegal to do drugs, it's bullshit. Okay? It's illegal if you become big than the boss. Okay? But come on, be honest, folks. What are you going to do? You're in business. You're going to go where the fucking money is. And that's what organized crime is. It's a business. Now, I go back, okay? Let's go back to Johnny Franchise. All right? He tells the district U.S. attorney when asked what Ori Spado does, he says he's a drug dealer. He dealt drugs all his life. Now, when he gets cross-examined, the lawyer who cross-examined was very good. So you said Mr. Spado never worked a day in his life. He said, that's right. He says, what about when Mr. Spado provided all the entertainment for the Queen Mary in Long Beach? Oh, I forgot that. I forgot that. What about, and folks, come on, keep hitting that like button. Get me to 100 here today. Okay? All right? What about when Mr. Spado was doing promotional work for Andrea Bocelli? Folks, you're not going to believe this answer. He said it right there, in front of the jury, in front of the judge, in front of everybody in the courtroom. He said, Ori knew Andrea Bocelli? He never told me that. I wish I knew. I would have loved to meet Andrea Bocelli. That's what he said, folks. Okay? No bullshit. I got the transcripts of the trial. Someday I should pull them out and read them to you. Okay? Hmm. So, folks, are you shocked knowing now that the bosses were ahead of the narcotic business and organized crime? Are you shocked? Leave me a comment. I'd like to know what you think. Okay? Because, people get things set in their mind without knowing the facts, what really happened, and all that. All right? Lions, you're not. All right? Okay? All right? Thank you, Millie. Millie, money's money. You got that right. Okay? All right? Lemon, how are you? What they do. You got that right. People still want to talk about Trump. You know what? I talk about politics. I'm pretty knowledgeable about it. I hate talking about it. I hate talking about it. Okay? You know, Cable Dog. It's a very good question. Cable Dog says, when we lose your generation, we will be lost. I guess my generation, I guess they call me the boomer generation. Is that it? Okay. Yeah, I think it's the orange. You know, I just call it the older generation. They got names for every fucking thing now. Oh my God. Okay. Who can remember all the names that they got? You're right, Mandy. No orange today. Okay. I'm getting sick and tired of talking about it. Sick and tired of talking about bullshit, okay, that I got no control over, okay? And somebody wrote me in a comment, and he was very astute, okay? Because I did a segment yesterday. Nobody goes and watches my videos, okay? I got a video up, folks. You should watch it. It's about what's going on with the elections here in California. All right? But somebody left me I can't remember who it was. Stalin said, it's not the voting that counts, it's counting the votes that counts. You understand that? So think about that next time you go to the polls and you vote or you send in. Huh? Line is, how will you keep control at the universal basic income? I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I am here. Why would Francesi lie? Okay? Give me a fucking break. Have you studied him? Do you know him? I know him. Why you come out with this stupid question? Okay? Look, I can respect the fact that you follow him, you subscribe to him. I can respect that, folks. I got no problem with it. I told you, I explained it to you, and you don't understand it. I am here, 000. Okay? I don't think Michael lied intentionally. Look it. You know how many times it was me and Michael looking for his brother Johnny here in Los Angeles? He didn't talk to you about that, did he? Okay? So get your fucking facts right before you leave a stupid comment. Okay? Decker, you heard me big. What guy up? Huh? All right, folks. I want to thank you all for coming here. The sun might come out, might not come out. Okay. Here in California, we call this June gloom. Huh? All right. Agent Orange, yeah, they base their what's on Google. Okay. Uh, look at whatever. Okay. Nobody wants to talk about what Michael said when I was on the stage with him on Grant Cardone's show on Twitter. So why don't you listen to that there before you make a judgment? Okay, Michael and I have had conversations. And Michael and I, we both buried the hatchet. Okay? Folks, I'm not here to fight with nobody. Okay, I got nothing to gain by fighting. I got nothing to lose either. But if you give me a stupid question, I'm going to fight it and to give you my opinion. All right, you like it, you don't like it. It's entirely up to you. All right. Thank you, Agent Orange, for saying that there. All right. I mean, yeah, thank you. People get free hypes. 3 hype viewers receive 3 free hypes to use each week, which reset at 12 a.m. local time on Monday. Okay, I didn't even know that. Okay. All right. Generation to me is called microwave. Oh my God, microwave. Hello, killer boy. How are you? All right. Thank you, Jeff. Staying on my sharp dresser. I try to come to you presentable. Okay, Anthony. All right. You know, people like to talk about things they don't know nothing about. Okay? All right? I swear to God. You know, I don't come here and talk to you about something that I don't know. Okay? And if you want to find out for all you guys, and look at, I respect you for following Michael. Michael's a very smart guy. Don't make no mistake. Michael is smart guy. He is actually 6 years younger than me. Just turned 75 years old. I wish him a happy birthday. Okay? I want you to read my book, folks. Okay? Read my book. You will find out that I knew Michael Franche. Okay? So you want to say something bad or negative, read my fucking book. Okay? It's in there. What do I got to sit here and read you the book? I'm not going to do that. Okay? Do you read? That's a question. Let me ask you a question. How many of you read? I've had people write me and say, "Yeah, I don't read, so I'm not going to buy your book." I've had people actually write me that and leave that in the comment. All right? Thank you, Agent Orange. I don't. Google gets some things wrong, that's for sure. Okay? Because, there is something that's been there since 1990 something. Okay? That was put there by the FBI who used another informant to put it there. And they say it was posted by Teddy Persico. You know who Teddy Persico is? Carmen's nephew? He didn't fucking post it. And I bet my life on that because I know he didn't post it. They used his fucking name to try to scare me to become an informant. All right? Guess what, folks? It didn't work. Okay? Because I knew what they were doing. And I am so happy to talk to you that you wonderful singer is wonderful talk. Okay, thank you, my friend. Mandy, you keeping busy today, kid? A little quiet, what? All right, folks, we're at 89 likes. Okay? 11 more. Oh, 9, 10 more. So let's get me to 100, folks. I don't know why the number 100 is like a magic number. And I don't know if the likes help me at all and the algorithm. All right? Does anybody know how these algorithms work? Because I sure as shit don't. Okay? You know, folks, I'm almost at 17,000 subscribers. When I had 5,000 or less, I used to get 4 to 5,000 views. Now that I got 17,000 almost, I'm lucky to get 500 views. So you think they got me shadow banned? I don't know. But anybody knows anything about technology and algorithms, I appreciate you giving me your thoughts on that because I can't figure it out. And I'm not the only one on YouTube, okay? They're saying that. I've seen people that used to get 100,000 views, okay, and they're getting 40 or 50,000 now. So why the change? I don't know. Something's changed, right? So algorithm, I don't know what algorithm is. Is it like an orgasm? Because some people, boom, they do something and it goes viral. All right. Folks, we need 2 more likes here. We got 2 more likes out of you folks, and we'll be at 100. All right. Today is Saturday, folks. Look at that. The sun is trying to come out. Okay. Thank you, Mandy, for telling the people to buy my books. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Okay. All right. Folks, we got 20 people left here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, let me ask you why you're not. Okay. You know, I saw Patrick David did a show one time. He said 51% of the viewers do not subscribe or hit that like button. Now, folks, there's a thumbs down button next to the thumbs up button. Okay? If you don't like what I say, please hit that thumbs down button then. Okay? I don't mind. I really don't. But you know what? I like to see you do something. Okay? Yeah, good. We got to 102 now. Thank you, folks, for doing it. Thank you. I don't know why, me, I'm a respectful person. I try to respect everybody. I come to you cordial. All right. I come to you almost all the time, that I'm dressed fairly good. Okay. Sometimes in the evening when I got my pajamas on, my pajamas is only a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. Okay. They're not really a set of pajamas. All right. But if something comes as breaking news, then I'll do it sitting in my chair over there, which you all seen that happen before. Okay? So I want to thank you all for coming here today. I hope you enjoyed this segment. It's a little bit different. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about how we in the mafia collect the money. Okay? You all hear the guy hitting somebody with a baseball bat. All right, they had him beat up and all that there. Okay, you all heard that shit, right? Right? I'm going to tell you the truth tomorrow. Okay, I don't know what time I'll be doing it. Stay tuned. All right, everybody. And remember one thing that I always leave you with, and I'm very serious about this. Do something kind for others today. Every day you should be doing something kind for others. And I guarantee you, if you do that there, it'll come back to you tenfold. Don't expect it to happen tomorrow. It'll come. You got to do it. Take the first step, folks. All right? All my love and respect to you all. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, folks.